Welcome back. This is part 2 of my MS journey. If you all want, go over and watch my first video on this, part 1, telling y'all how I was diagnosed with this and my first flare-up. Right now, I am currently in my second flare-up. I was doing really good for a while. I was trying to treat all this by diet only. I had previously been following a pretty good ketogenic diet, and I was transitioning myself to what they consider a ketovore, where it's really meat heavy. It's almost carnivore, but I'm still eating too many vegetables for it to be true carnivore. I love guacamole and pickles and onions and whatnot, so I'm still eating that. And then one of the biggest downfalls, I believe, is even pre-keto, my 3 favorite foods were always pizza, burgers, and tacos. Well, we found a local pizza place here near our house. They were running a special on, I don't remember if they were 10 or 12 inch pies, but they had 3 different flavors that sounded amazing to us. So we ordered those.
And I called them because I always like to call and find out the ingredients. And this was just a small mom and pop, and they were like, oh yeah, it's just cauliflower and Parmesan, that's it. And I said, no flours of any kind, any of this, any oils. And they were like, no, I think that's it, that's in it. And I was like, oh,
I like that.
Right.
But it was amazing pizza. I loved it.
Yeah, but we put our trust in them since they advertised it as cauliflower crust that was keto. We were like, okay, we're going to try it and see, what happened. What harm could come from doing one time.
And she ate her part of the pie, and then almost with an hour later, she did not feel good.
There was something in there. The crust itself was like a real pizza crust. I mean, it was kind of a greenish color, so it wasn't the traditional brown color, but it was soft and pliable like a regular pizza crust, and it tasted like a regular pizza crust. And within an hour, my system, anytime I get anything out somewhere, I could tell right away, no, this isn't clean, this has something used in it. And I was sick as a dog within an hour, and I was like, okay, I'm not eating anymore. I'm fine throwing it away. But
I loved cold pizza too, so the next couple of days I finished them off, eating 2 or 3 slices at a time.
And he didn't get anything like I did. I was sick, he wasn't visibly sick, he didn't have any of those conditions. So he ate the remainder of the 3 pizzas over the next 4 days. Every day he was having about a third of a pizza over those 4 days.
And then, what makes it even worse, is she found an awesome deal off of Perfect Keto's website, where she ordered some those little they're candy bars, and when we got them, they were straight up candy bars. Is what I liken them to. There's 2 flavors. She got a chocolate peanut butter, and a pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
they were amazing. I loved them.
Yeah, and I love pumpkin spice like anything, and I'm more ketovore than he is. Really, I just strictly stick to just meat and fat, but I'll have my coffee, of course, because life is coffee. And then I was like, oh, well, people were talking about these keto bars. They sounded really good. And I was like, well, a little bar here and there won't hurt me. And it was still, total carbs was only 10, which I'm like, well, if that's the only carbs I'm getting a day, that's still pretty low carb. So I ordered them, and many of you know with Perfect Keto, the more you order, the more you save. And they had a special, so I ended up ordering 4 boxes. Yeah. Each box had 12 bars, and you got a free pouch of their peanut butter and jelly. Nut butter, which is really good. And really so good. We got all those in, and at first I was like, okay, we'll just have 1 bar a week, And I got each flavor, and I would split, each bar in half. he'd get, so then that way we could try both flavors. And like, oh my gosh.
They were amazing. They just straight
were.
up, they just reminded me of a regular candy bar.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw shade at the company or nothing, because she contacted them and asked them if she could do return the bars we did not eat. And these awesome folks turned around and gave us a complete refund on all of it and told us just to find somebody else to give the bars to.
Yeah.
So we did that. We sent them off to a bunch of people in our Two Crazy Ketos family group on Facebook, which Joe and Rachel run a great group over there. I'm like in love with them people. They're amazing too. But
so we had started, so in October, we really got lax. Like, even for myself, we were just doing so well. And, you know, isn't that how it always goes? You start feeling really well and you kind of forget what it feels like to be crappy. So we started having, like, we had that pizza, and another week we ordered an actual cauliflower crust. I'd ordered cauliflower crust from Whole Foods, that it was just cauliflower and cheese. And so we started having those like once a week. And then the bars came the first week of October. And at first we were just going to do one a week. But, you know I have an addictive personality. And I just immediately we were having at least one bar a day.
At least.
And I think there were several days that we ended up having one with lunch and one with one with dinner. And then with the nut butter, we were like, oh, well, we got this nut butter. So we pour some of that on the bars too. Or maybe a little
spoon.
Yeah, eat it with a spoon. Put it on a little piece of chocolate. Like, so, and the bars themselves would be considered clean keto. It was just basically peanuts, peanut butter, and almond flour. So very clean ingredients. It does have MCT oil in it.
And one thing I remember too is when I very first started keto, everybody was doing the fathead dough for their pizza, and we found a friend of ours that was making a fathead dough kolache, and borrowed that recipe. And every single time I ate any of that stuff, whether I made the fathead dough myself or we ate it out, disaster pants every single time. So I think that means I'm allergic to almond flour, and which is what those bars have in them too.
Yeah.
So we started doing a little more, or actually Shelly, my better half, started doing a little research on it.
Well, so what happened as we, here we are, we're eating on these towards the end of October. All of a sudden, like, he wasn't even wearing the patch from August, September, and most of October. He was having good vision. He wasn't wearing the patch. He wasn't using the cane. He was getting around fine. And then suddenly he started having the blurred vision. What else was going on?
I fell out of the bed.
Well, but at the beginning,
I was just blurred vision basically, and
started having weakness.
The weakness in my left side of my, like, especially my leg and my arm. Like right now, still, I feel it's not actual pain, but I feel something from my wrist to my elbow. It feels like there's something like hanging off my arm, like maybe not a cast, but like a I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. But it feels like there's something hanging on my arm right now, still to this day. And I, like I'm trying to eat dinner or whatever. I can't hold my fork correctly, like cut my steak or whatever. So it's just... So
we figured out, okay, we think he's having a relapse again. And so we immediately called the doctor's office, and it just so happened that he actually had an appointment already scheduled for his follow-up with the doctor.
Like 3 days later, I think.
Yeah, but we were like, I know we have an appointment this Thursday, but, he's having a relapse. Can we go ahead and get the steroids? So they called in a prescription for steroids, and when they do it, it's a 12-day... staggered. Like, you start off with a high dose, and you slowly wean yourself off over 12 days. And so they called that in. We got that started, right away. Went to the doctor, and he kind of, like, I would say scared us, because he was like, yeah, this is what happens. This is why you have to take medication. This is why he
why he prescribed it for me.
Yeah, he was like, I know about keto. I understand keto, but you have to take medication because this is a progressive disease.
And then he printed out a list of other medicine, gave it to Shelly to take home and research for herself over what was the best one we think I should be taking. I've already notified him. They're supposed to be working on getting it over to me, so I can start on taking those. But in the meantime, I had fallen 4 times. And with my leg being as weak as it is, my upper body strength right now, I couldn't get myself back up.
Well, the first time you did, first time he fell, he finally managed to get himself up. But
I crawled up my nightstand beside my bed.
Yeah. But the other 3 times, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't put the weight on his leg, and his left leg wouldn't bend to where he could sit up on his knees.
Right. And then I even heard that maybe a hyperbolic chamber, how am I saying it wrong?
Hyperbaric.
Yeah, chamber could work. So we found a place right around the corner from our house. That day, I felt amazing. We jumped in the car. She took me over there. I walked right into the place. And I guess it was, I psyched myself out or something, because everything I saw and read online, it looked like a little bitty miniature submarine or something you just walked right into. And the last one I saw said they held 6 or 7 people. It had a little lounge chair in it. It even had a TV you could hang out in while you're doing this. Well, when we get to the clinic here by the house, it's like a little miniature cocoon thing laying on the ground that I had to climb down into. I did that fine. I could step down into it, laid down flat. They even let me keep my phone. I chatted with her, via text back and forth. They filled the machine up, and there's a little glass screen thing, plexiglass or whatever, right above my head. And the guy would come over every once in a while, tap on it, and I'd give him a thumbs up. Everything was still cool. And everything was great. I went through a whole hour through there feeling fine, thinking about booking another session with them, thinking this might help me really good. But then they turned it off, unzipped the thing, and when I fell, I couldn't get myself up out of it. And it's like a little cocoon that once they fill it up with the air, it billows up around you. And then, they undo it and it deflates. Well, they had to unhook it from the stand it was on, turn it over, and this thing basically gave birth to me, because they just pushed me out of it right through the little slot. I land on my back. They had to help me they had to go get a sheet and help me actually get up. Once I'm up, I can walk around great. I just don't have the strength to get myself up. And then we just came home. Yeah. And that's basically where I'm at now.
Well, and in the meantime of getting on a prescription, it's not where the doctor could just call it in and we go pick it up. We're going with the medication called Aubagio. And so I've already talked to the nurse they go through a whole questionnaire. He might have to get some blood work done where the doctor's office is supposed to check and see if he's already had the blood work done with everything that happened back in July, or if he needs some more. And then once that's done, once the insurance signs off on it and the financial aid comes through, then he'll be finally FedExed the medication. So it could be another 2 or 3 weeks. At this point, he's already finished the prednisone. And
I've graduated from using a cane to actually using a full walker on the recommendation of the EMS people.
Yeah, whenever he fell...
So I feel like I'm half a cripple now.
Whenever he fell, because he couldn't get himself up, I had to call EMS, and they would come out, and they were real great. They helped get him up. They gave me some pointers, which I should have already known, but we had some area mats and got rid of those, area rugs. And then they said, a walker might be more stable for him than a cane, since it's basically his whole left side. And so I got, the walker they recommended. We put in a couple, what are they? grab bars,
safety bars, like
safety
in the
bars
shower.
in the shower,
And
so that you know I feel like I'm still trying to get him to be as independent as possible. Even though I do help with a lot of stuff because he just doesn't have the energy to do things on his own or the mobility to do it.
And then for my regular viewers of my channel, y'all know I love to cook. And that's burning me up right now. Because of the walker and everything, I can't go in the kitchen and help her cook. We usually cook together every meal. And now I'm depending on her doing all of it. I can't. And it's really, really working on me hard. But I don't know.
Well, you're doing well. We're making progress. So in the meantime, because of course, we don't have the medication that is supposed to be needed. And when we call the doctor's office saying, hey, he's taking prednisone, doesn't seem to be getting any better. They were just like, well, that's just how it is. You just got to wait till the relapse is over. It could be a few weeks or a few months. You just never know. So there's nothing else they could do. There was nothing else they could prescribe. There was nothing else they wanted to do to help. So I basically told him, let's just go strict carnivore, drink water, don't drink so many of your Zevias and Zip Fizzes and so forth. Let's just try to drink mostly water, eat fatty red meat, eat as often, because when I'm researching, it's saying that usually when you're going through this, when they're having a relapse. So for those that don't know, multiple sclerosis is where it's an autoimmune that attacks your myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is what covers the nerves. So when it attacks that, your nerves basically go crazy. So what is the myelin sheath made up of? It's fat. So he needs a lot of good fats, like omega-3. So I've been giving him like some salmon roe, getting some wild sockeye salmon, just trying to research everything of, okay, what can I do to help the nerves, help the myelin sheath, and help him get better while he's doing this. So focusing on a lot of red fatty meat, making him eat like 3 meals a day. So that he's only
eating 2.
Right. But this way he's getting plenty of that in so that he's feeling better about it. And he could tell a difference. Like when you have a meal.
Yeah, I feel fine. My body doesn't want to work with me when I get up, walk around and whatnot.
But you have more energy, you said, after you eat.
I feel,
And you feel a little more mobile after you've eaten.
Yes.
And
correct.
Yeah, and so I think you're making strides. What else did we decide to do to help?
I honestly don't remember. I'm drawing the blank, baby. I really don't.
So,
this is why I refer to you as my better half. You're the brains of the operation.
So because a lot of it, like him getting himself up is, we've never been big exercise. Everybody knows us. We're not exercise people. We've been overweight our whole lives. He's dropped nearly 150 pounds at this point. So we're making strides. But I was like, if you had upper body strength or a better core, this could help you when you fall, that you could get yourself up. Because it's scary falling and not being able to help yourself, just laying there. So he was watching, and he's a big wrestling fan. And there's a guy called Diamond Dallas Page, and he created a program called DDPY, DDP Yoga, and there's been a lot of people. You could put it in a search, DDPY, and you'll find some amazing stories of people that were basically crippled and now they can run.
Make sure you watch his video on his client, Arthur Gorman. That's the most amazing one that hooked me on it.
So we were like, okay, this is going to be good because it will help build your core and help build your strength back in your body. Because I feel like with the nerves and all that are going crazy, we need to focus on creating more stronger muscles and nerves to like basically remap So if those nerves are damaged over here, well, we just have to get some new nerves going. So we started doing the DDPY about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. And so we started doing that. It's great because it works at any level. It starts, you could be in the bed, you could be bedridden and start on the program. So it really has it accommodated to where it matches you. And so we started that, and you think it's helping so far?
I really feel like it's helping a lot. I mean, because I'm able to get up off the couch and walk around more now, and it's basically just a waiting game now. I'm gonna keep eating right, I'm gonna keep exercising, and we'll see what happens. And so I guess in my next video, that's when I'll fill you in on what's next.
Yeah.
It's kind of painful just waiting to see. It's messing with my head, honestly, more than anything, just because I don't like I feel like I'm helpless. And that's I'm usually a can-do person. And I don't know, there's so many things I know I want to do and need to do around the house, and I can't because I'm stuck to this walker. So that's where I'm at.
Well, we'll work on it. So he thought it was important to like share his journey, because there's not a lot of people out there who talk about multiple sclerosis and how they're treating it and what it looks like when you're going through a relapse, what the person actually goes through. So he wanted to kind of share the story, maybe help some other people, and then we'll just see. Right now, because the medication's up in the air, we're just going to continue to treat it by going strict carnivore.
Yes.
Like, he's not having any plants at all. It's just carnivore.
And usually I'm a big hot sauce fiend. I put my hot sauce on almost everything, but I'm not even eating that.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it off. I usually, use a lot of seasoning when I cook, but now it's just a little bit of salt. Because I'm trying to be really, really strict and just see what I can do with this.
Yeah, so
it's just meat and cheese is the only thing I'm eating now.
Yes. And so we'll follow up in a week. Just kind of keep tabs every week, and you can follow along and see how he's doing as he progresses.
All right. Yes. Thank y'all for watching, and fingers crossed that everything's going to work out for me.